Get this adjusted.
Hey, we are live. Where are we?
We're in my garage. So it's kind of, I don't know. We did our best.
Yeah.
If this works out well, then we'll do a few more of these and we'll try and get a little bit better, more professional setup. Otherwise, we're live from Jeremy's garage, and we have.
And this is Jeremy.
Oh, I'm Jeremy.
I'm Adam.
Adam. And it's pronounced VAGuh.
Right.
So today we have just a few things that we wanted to cover. We get questions daily, weekly about all kinds of things. Sponsorship is a big one. Like, how do I get this, and what do we think about that? And just question after question about, what is it that we are doing, and what have we paid for, what have we gotten for free, and what have we gotten discounts on and stuff like that. So we thought it would be a good opportunity for us to just be transparent and say, hey, this is how it's gone. We have a rough outline, but we're also leaving this open to questions. So if anybody's here in the chats, feel free to pop a question up. We'll see it. We'll try to address it. We're hoping a few of you are going to jump over from the live stream we just had on Instagram. So we'll give everybody maybe a few minutes just to see if anyone pops in.
Yeah. So, how far do you want to get into it right now? Let's just go. Let's just do it.
Let's talk. Let's go.
Okay. So I laid out a few things that Jeremy and I have talked about over time. There's also a really great Instagram handle called Are You Sponsored? And all they do is like take screenshots that people send them of like, or maybe this is a good lead into the trailer for this, is like, hey, I've got like 200 followers, like send me some stuff. I'll totally share it with everybody. But they don't follow the company they're asking for free products for. They're just like, they don't set themselves up for success. And so that's what we want to talk about. The first thing that is on my list of the 3 tips is stop calling it a sponsorship and make it a partnership. Yeah. And so Jeremy has had really great success in doing that, I think, because of the platform that your car's on. And
yeah, I mean, I think one thing to mention really quick too before we get in it is a lot of these lessons we learned the hard way. Like, we were the idiots with 200 followers.
Yeah, we were definitely there.
Yeah, and so this is kind of based on what we learned, the feedback, the conversations that we've had with multiple tuners, and and so the first thing really is, like, it's not a sponsorship, really. Like, they're not just giving you free stuff and then expecting you to, like, you're not a celebrity yet. You could be, you might get there. I wouldn't consider ourselves on anywhere near that kind of level. Like, we have pretty minimal following. But when we say partnership, like, we laid out, we said, hey, we're setting up a website. We're going to, we've got this platform. We're doing these things. And at that point, we had already put our money where our mouth was, right? So the first videos that we did on YouTube, both Adam and I, we laid out our own cash. We, spent political capital with our wives in order to make that happen. And we just were doing it for fun, and it started to pick up some steam, and we started to get some questions outside of the platforms, and our DMs, direct messages on Facebook, emails, all kinds of stuff. And so then we sat down and decided, like, hey, we're going to make a plan. And the plan's going to include a roadmap for what videos we want to create, how we're going to go about them, what our methodology is. And at that point, like, the first quote unquote partnership that I entered into was with Unitronic. And I had already purchased the tune for my car on APR, and was loving it, by the way. And I think I had some gripes just about the drivability. Like, it was really fun, but always felt like I just kind of ran out of gas up near Redline, and
just wanted to try something different.
Wanted to try something new, and our buddies at Auc Tuning, where we go to have a bunch of the work done on our cars, we go for advice, we go to talk with them about all kinds of things, and not just these cars, but cars that we've had before, other cars that we own, family cars, and things like that. And so I went to them and talked to them about Unitronic. So APR just announced they weren't going to go or be supporting the Stage 2, which is really, I was stage 2 plus on a previous A4 that I owned. And I was really excited to get that level with the S5. And so they said, no, we're going to try out Unitronic. They have plans to go stage 2, and we started kind of batting around this idea. I was like, God, what would be great? Like, I see all these posts in the forums constantly, in the Facebook groups about who's got the best tune and why. And, we don't ever see anybody compare them on the same car and the same environment with the same mods.
I think, and there are very few people who do switch tuners, and they give their feedback, which is great, but it still seems very, I don't know, very focused on what those specific changes are. And
yeah, so really what we did is we talked with them and Unitronic. We reached out and sort of tag teamed the conversation and laid out like, hey, this is what our plans are. And fortunately for me, we ended up getting Octuning to help out with half the cost of the tune, and then we got Unitronic to give basically like a 50% discount to try it out and do videos, a series of videos, which we've done. We took it to the dyno, which cost, that was at the time, it cost a couple hundred bucks. Is it like $300 if it's just normal?
I think so.
I think like $300 to do a baseline dyno run.
Maybe yeah.
And so
every single time that we've been in the dyno, it's cost money.
So we did that, and then we decided, well, we also got to get these to the track, because draggy has a little bit of we'll just say draggy isn't as accurate as going to the track. Not that I discount the draggy results, but I think you can find those unicorn days where the DA is super low, or you get whatever factors, whatever it is you do to make your car go, like run the best, you can get those when you're using the draggy easier than, when you're sitting at a track lined up next to somebody else and you got to go do it. But the point is like, that was the closest thing we had gotten to a sponsorship. Everything since then, we've still paid for parts since then.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them. Most of what has been gifted to us so far has been tunes. So 034 was next up. They were just like, I happened to reach out and I'm like, hey, I had already started the tune comparison series at this point.
Well, you had 2 tunes to compare.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, what's next? So
yeah,
we needed another one.
Well, and I was planning on, saving up money or hoping that this platform would, provide enough to do it. And so, we reached out to 034 and they're like, yeah, no, I'll send you a new one. Like a day after or a day before at least.
Very quick.
And I still, like, I've done a bunch of different parts and install videos for them. Happy Sunday. And it's our time, it's our energy, it's a partnership. We market the heck out of our videos, we market the heck out of the parts. We believe in the stuff that we're getting generally. I mean, I think we have taken a chance on a couple of items and installed them where companies maybe reached out or we reached out and it was like, hey, you don't have an install video, they're really helpful, this is what we want to do. And we've gotten maybe a discount or something off of that. But the big point is, we've done a lot of work. We've set up the platforms, we do the marketing. In a lot of cases, we buy the gear, or we're spending money after the fact, not just on the video production, but
so this goes into what I have already written out. One of the points is show how you can provide value. Is a huge tip. Like, to be able to show how you can provide value. One of the other things I have written in here is start by buying your own stuff. Like, it's going to be really hard to find somebody who wants to give you something to review or test without showing how you can do that.
And plan on continuing to buy your own stuff. So, so I think this is probably as good a time as any to mention that we've decided to partner with IE. Many of you have known Adam has already partnered with them, but
that's Integrated Engineering.
And they reached out, and they like, and all the tuners I've talked to, by the way, have asked for just real honest opinion without bias. Just, tell us what you think. We're not afraid of the competition.
And nobody has dictated, like, this is the content I want from you. They have all been just very chill, like, your audience, which I don't know if we know our audience. Like we do.
Yeah, we try.
Yeah, we try. They're like, just do your thing, and let's be honest, and hopefully a good result comes from it.
Yeah, so the partnership with IE is basically like, let's see how fast we can make this car. We're going to be hitting it hard in the spring, seeing what we can do. Part of that was like, hey, we'd like you to be a beta tester with the hybrid turbo. And I said, okay, initially going, all right, well, what does that mean? And they knew what they were asking. And they said, well, unfortunately, we only can send you some free stuff that we manufacture. So really that means if you want the hybrid turbo, you got to go buy it. So I did.
And it's retailed at like $4,000, I think.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a bit, and I did get a little bit of a discount because again, I wrote a really well-formed email, really professional to the turbo engineers, letting them know what we were planning on doing, a full install video, all the dyno videos, all the racetrack videos, all the stuff that we plan on doing with everything. So,
and at this point, we have done a ton to show our value and like what we can do. We are not producers and performers. We just like doing fun, cool stuff with our cars and with each other
and learning.
And I think that one of the biggest things for us in the sponsorship partnership discussion is the fact that we are willing to communicate with the community around this. I feel like there's, I don't know, maybe if we get above 10,000. Is that your car starting outside?
That's the SQ7 outside just started up. If you can hear it, sorry about that.
If we get to a level where just like the community portion and communicating with folks is too much, like that's going to be a problem for me. We've given people our phone number, our email address. We've done FaceTime through people.
Yeah, we've helped people through.
And
installs.
So like that's one part that we really enjoy, and I think is definitely a way that we can provide value and helping people.
And so we have a question here about whether or not we've ever gotten a part sponsored that went sideways, and just kind of how we've handled it. And I think it's fair to say we've had a couple of parts that didn't go the way we expected to. And frankly, like we put it on our videos. Like my grill video is one of the most highly viewed videos that we have. And I had to cut into my crash bar. And I talk about it on another series that may be coming out after the first of the year, but another one of our YouTube buddies kind of called me out on it. And he was like, who cuts into the crash bar of a $60,000 vehicle? And I was like, hey, I was not excited about that either. But I had everything off of my car. I had to drive it the next day, and I had to put everything back together. I looked at it, and the reality is like, the company was great. The dude, it was a Friday evening. The guy was at a movie with his family. I had Mops with Nemesis there, so also jumping in and helping when they could, and we figured out a solution. I bounced the ideas off our friends over at Off Tuning, and ultimately I was comfortable with cutting the crash bar, even though it wasn't perfect. We had another situation which I'll be addressing in a future video, where I think just fitment overall, while it's maybe the biggest inlet that's on the market, I had some specific challenges. I knew what I was getting into though. So like the agreement with that company initially was that we would come in and we would be doing some fitment, doing some adjusting. And I think the thing that I didn't count on was, just the part didn't hold up long term like I was hoping to. And the company said, look, we'll send you a new one. And this, by the way, wasn't a part that was by the way, shout out to Kelly and Trevor at Rock Tuning.
Well, so it wasn't fully developed, right?
Yeah,
so.
it wasn't fully developed, but it wasn't, I forget what I was going to say, but basically they offered to send me a new one. It wasn't a part that was fully sponsored. I ended up paying, I had a pretty good discount, but I still was, paying for it. And so that's kind of how we've been handling it. Again, we want to be as non-biased as possible. And, you know, I think it's fair to say there are feelings of obligation when somebody gives you something. There's some expectation, and while we try to handle things politically, we're also like our first goal is to make sure that we're honest and open about what our experiences are, because that's why we started the channel.
Yeah, and I think that there's many different ways that you can go about it. There's another YouTuber friend, VAGuh or DadWagon. I forget which. He has an Instagram handle name and then a YouTube handle. It's GoDadWagon. Anyway, I talked to him, or like we've chatted just about like partnerships, sponsorships, that sort of thing, and the way he approaches it for himself is different than us. He prefers to just go out and buy the parts if he can, and say, hey, you know, I'm planning on making content with this. It would be helpful if I got a discount to be able to do that. So he then doesn't feel a total obligation that like the review has to go great. You know, he can be open and honest and say what he really thinks and feels. So there's different ways to go about it.
Yeah, and again, I think we make ourselves available. You know, we'll answer in the forums pretty honestly. And then we'll also give people, you know, the opportunity where if they want to dig into a specific issue, they're more than welcome to contact us, and we'll give them some of the backstory and our feelings. The reality is, and this is kind of difficult for our tuner series because we get asked all the time, what one do you like the best? You know, who's your favorite? They want to see this clear winner, like it's, you know, like it's I actually tried in one of
the Hunger Games.
Yeah. I tried like the epic rap battles of history at one point, and I was going to go like down this path. And I was like, well, the reality is like all the tunes are really good to drive and all the companies have been really good to work with. And I don't think it's just because we're influencers, kind of.
What did you just call us?
Yeah. Aspiring.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, I think they have a genuine interest in supporting their customers and creating a really good, just a really good experience for everybody. And so I haven't had the negative side of things to date.
There's not been a lot that's gone wrong. Everything has worked. If I forget what I was watching yesterday, but just somebody was talking about like, look, if you're going into this being critical and looking for an error, there's going to be an error. You're always going to find something wrong. You know, there's everything just in the aftermarket world is going to be a challenge to fit perfectly. Even like OEM parts that you get, like there might be some adjustments. Yeah, who's laughing at us about being influencers?
Everybody.
Richard. There's going to be adjustments. There's going to be people who have problems with it, and it's because of the wide variability of different cars, and people's DIY skills might play a part into it. The biggest one that like I haven't made a video about it yet is super wrap spray. Is the wide variability in that product. It's a great product. If you do all the things correct, you will still get a different result possibly at the end for like the color that goes on your wheel.
I also did super wrap
with a different experience.
Yeah.
GoDadWagon did super wrap with a totally different experience. And it's something that I'm going to make a video on, just talking about all of those experiences that we've had. At this point right now, I'm trying to get the stuff off my wheels, and I've had it on for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be like media blasted off because I did so good putting it on and applying it.
So, well, and the other thing I think that's worth pointing out, and that's kind of a big one, like we're modifying our cars, right? Like there's got to be a level of expectation that we're not putting factory OEM parts on here. It's not being assembled by like Audi certified technicians, or maybe it is if you're taking it to a shop and having somebody do it. But you know, we're going into this thing pretty open-eyed and understanding like these modifications affect the original engineering of this motor, and there's going to be some repercussions or some potential challenges. Like again, the issue we ran into on the crash bar wasn't because the part wasn't well engineered to begin with. It was because Audi came out with a revision to the crash bar, which, you know,
was it tested on that revised part?
It hadn't been at the time.
Oh,
okay. I think the reality was they were just finding out about the revision because it's not like it was published anywhere.
Yeah. just got to dive into it to do that.
What's the question
so,
we got?
No, he just says, we're really lucky to have Occ Tuning around the corner.
Yeah.
And the fact that like we have their support, at least from Kelly. I think, we have their support as a company.
Yeah.
We've talked to some of their techs and they're all super cool, really knowledgeable people. And we pretend to be the experts, but really a lot of the information that we are providing is because we've talked to them so much about those things.
Yeah.
So they are the experts.
And oftentimes we're tapping them for information when we're trying to help some of our, some of the people who contact us or any of our friends out with, codes or errors or whatever they have going on. And, frankly, like I think the platform is still pretty new and we're still seeing a lot of things pop up.
Yeah. So we're at the 20-minute mark. I want to nice.
Supercharged V8.
That's right. Yeah. I want to kind of start wrapping up here. I think that one of the last things that we should say as part of the points is stick to your commitment. If you're asking for a sponsorship or working on a partnership, get it, like help them understand what the timeline is going to be, what the result is going to be. Stick to your commitment. The last thing that we can kind of openly talk about is being sponsored doesn't mean it's truly free. And so you might get a discount, but I think that discount is going to end up being your time spent.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where like in Jeremy's case is this, the hybrid turbo is like, hey, we want to do this tune. Oh shoot. Now I got to buy a turbo, spend all this money on the dyno.
Yeah.
We're spending money going to the track. We're spending a ton of time, not just doing these things, but trying to learn how to film and produce it so that it's content that,
and development with the beta, right? So we did, we create the videos and that obviously takes time, but getting involved with the beta testing, which is super fun. I mean, the nice thing is like you have some influence over how the drivability comes out. I mean, and fortunately, because I've gotten the opportunity to drive a bunch of the tunes, I'm able to go back and write some detailed information along with all the data logs, we had, this is what I experienced and so on and so forth. But that will maybe take, 2 or 3 hours of time a week minimum, not even including
if you can get a solid block of time to sit down and do that, which we're both dads, families, and it's really hard to find that time. So like, it's not truly free. It has not penciled out in our favor. We are, almost 2 years into this and have spent way more than we probably would have if we were just, a typical enthusiast deciding the right part for our car and kind of moving on.
Yeah.
And probably wouldn't have ended up with a hybrid turbo in your car at all.
No, I don't think I would have gone that far. A Street Ride points out a really good thing. It's ultimately not what the company can do for you, but it's what we can do, how we can create videos and give back to the community. I think we got to be clear. Like, we started a YouTube channel to support our hobby. And I think as it's starting to pick up steam, we're getting more and more opportunities where we're saying, okay, well, ideally we're going to start bringing other cars in. We've got a lot more VAGuh cars. So we've got plans to get the SQ7 on here. We've got friends that have. I just met somebody who bought a Pomelo Yellow Mark 8 GTI that like is totally down for doing anything. Yeah. So I'm excited to try and tear into that thing. We've got some R8 performances that some of our friends have just got and they agreed to like let us use on here. I'm excited about the GTI, Jeremy. Well, you should be. I mean, that's the goal. We're hoping to get into some Porsches and stuff at some point. And so, we have big plans for the platform. And why we kept the name for us fairly generic was so that we could expand in the future. Yvonne's one of them. Yeah. So Yvonne and Ethan's got an RS6, and what we want to do is we want to see if the SQ7 tuned with APR and I think with resonator deletes coming from Red Star. That's pause. We should have said something like one of the very first partnerships that we had was with Sean from Red Star Exhaust, and that was something that worked out really well.
We paid for like 90% of the downpipes.
Yeah.
But he has been a really great partner. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Sean at Red Star.
Yeah.
So getting resonator delete on the SQ7.
Yeah. And by the way, Red Star, like anything we get, even the resonator deletes, they're going to send me one to do a video and everything. And I promised my wife I wouldn't make the car louder. So we're going to see how it sounds, and then probably take it off and send it back. But we still end up paying for some of the stuff. Some companies just, they're not able to accommodate that type of a sponsorship, and that's okay, because we want to help them continue the development. But we are excited about the RS6 from Ethan, and potentially doing like a grocery getter challenge, right? See, does the SQ7 tuned, is it like a budget RS6? Because let me tell you, it's fast.
It's really fast.
Like it's definitely not a slow car. We also have another friend who's got a Track Hawk, and we're thinking of getting both of those at the track. They should be right around the same time frame in the quarter mile. I think he's been dyno tuned and he's at like 900 horsepower. But I think if we throw some like 104 octane in the SQ7, we might be right there. So,
all right. Well, I think it's a good time to wrap this up, and just, the things I'm just going to read off again real quick. The title of this video is Getting Your Car Sponsored, but the word sponsored and sponsorship needs to stop right away. So call it a partner, make it a partnership. Start by buying your own stuff and show how you can provide value, and stick to your commitments.
Yeah.
Just know that you're going to be spending a lot of money and time if you start going down this rabbit hole.
Hey, I think I want to address one last thing that we had that's come up. You've got it over here on your questions, and it was one of the main.
Oh. It was a driver for this video.
Yeah.
Right. So Jeremy has worked with 5 or 6 different companies to do tunes.
Mm-hmm.
One of the questions that he gets most often is, why haven't you tested EPL's tune yet?
Yeah. So it's a very good reason. We started the tuner series, and the second tune that I got, Unitronic, as I mentioned before, no cost to me. Other than the videos, the partnership, all the dyno runs, all the stuff that we did in the track time and everything afterwards. We got the tune from 034, also no cost to me. Same with IE, same with BVX Performance. We have other companies reaching out wanting to do the same thing, because ultimately, they're looking for the partnership, the production, the exposure to be included in a series that has gained a bit of popularity. And so EPL, I reached out. EPL has been great. Like, we've been talking and everything. I think they're just in a little bit different spot. They're not, as we talked about, they offered me a discount, but ultimately, as we've looked at, having to go spend $4,000 on a hybrid turbo, having to go spend, money on some of the other things that we need for production and whatnot, or just other parts for the car, financially, it didn't work out for that at this point. So I'm still open to testing them. I have no ill will towards EPL.
If somebody would like to donate an EPL tune, Jeremy will review it.
Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is everything we've talked about is it's a pretty big investment for us. Generally, it costs kind of a minimum of around $500 to $600 for us to produce one of the tuner series videos, just because of the amount of time and again, the expenses that we put into it. And so
we accidentally break stuff.
Yeah, so we've set this thing up as a business, and it's got to have a return on investment. And so, at some point, maybe we don't open a Patreon. We haven't done any of that yet. So
we do have a link to PayPal donation. So
yeah, I'm not sure that was the right way to go about it. I don't know. Maybe Street Ride can tell us if Patreon's paying off for them or not.
Yeah.
But and YouTube, I think we're growing here, but the revenue there is like, enough to buy us a new draggy.
Yeah, just got a new draggy, guys.
So hopefully that kind of answers the EPL question. Again, those guys have been great. They're they did offer me a pretty significant discount, but I wanted to make sure we're keeping things as objective as possible, and was concerned that forking out that sum of money was going to inject any kind of bias or anything. That wouldn't be fair to them. So that answers that. Any other questions before we get going?
We've got a few people with us. This is fantastic.
Do we?
Yeah. So we've got 3 people up here.
Nice.
Well, our autobiography as well. I don't know what an RR autobiography is. Is that a car?
I don't know.
Rest and relaxation autobiography.
Range Rover.
We rock. Oh, yes. I think you're right.
Thanks, man.
The Range Rover. Thank you. We do rock.
Built-in support system for the creator. Yeah. I think we had something on the chat, but we haven't looked into it.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Aha, Range Rover.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Yeah. I think those are pretty nice.
Yeah. I kind of want to see. I think we should see this B8 S5 at some point. Maybe put it on the channel if you're open.
Yes. I think we may have connected on Instagram briefly, but yeah, hit us up on Instagram. That's the easiest way for us to message and communicate with everybody.
Sometimes you get us both.
Yeah, or it's me pretending to be Jeremy.
So we catfish each other quite often.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pronounced VAGuh. There's some underscores in there, but there's going to be a link in the description. So just check that out. All right.
Cool. Well, hopefully this was interesting. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Drop us a message. Let us know if you want us to do more.
Yeah. Ask more questions, and that will drive this video series. If Jeremy's up for it, maybe we do another one every 2 weeks or something. Every Sunday at noon or something, we sit down and figure out a topic that we're going to chat about.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Bye.
See ya.
Oh, now I have to click end.
Yeah.